All right, thank you for staying with us. This is a continuation of the conversation we started yesterday about, the defamation case instituted against Dele Farotimi by a legal luminary and the founder of Afe Babalola University, Afe Babalola, who said he has been defamed by some of the content in the book written by Dele Farotimi in Nigeria and his criminal justice system, which said he has maligned him, his law firm, and everything he has worked for, his immediate family, and has, tried to cast him in the negative, in the high of the world. Now, the case was in court yesterday again, and Dele Farotimi was granted a bail to the tune of 50 million naira. 50 million naira. You can see him on your screen now. That was when he was leaving the court premise. 50 million naira. And of course, he should submit his passport, international passport as well. And this has been generating ripples to say, we had a lawyer who told us yesterday that a defamation case can be civil and can be criminal in nature as well, depending on the path that the plaintiff choose to follow. But then this particular picture has been sending shivers, through the spines of so many persons to say this is a defamation case. This is not like a wanted criminal or somebody that has been on the run for long that has just been caught, or is this really necessary? We have another lawyer, and not just a lawyer, he is a law lecturer with the University of Hull right here in the UK, and of course a friend of the house. I think I can call him that right now. Dr. Misbah Latif joins us virtually. Doctor, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Latif, if you can hear me. Good morning, sir. Okay. Doctor, if you can hear me, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Can
Okay,
you hear
right,
me?
right. I can hear you now. Thank you for joining us.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you too for the good job you're doing.
Thank you, sir. And let's start. We had a lawyer, who gave us his own opinion yesterday. I'm sure you're somebody who is vocal, both electronically and verbally, and even on programs like this about what you believe in. You're a lawyer. You teach law for a living. Because of the want of time, let me just ask you the assessment of that this case between erudite law lord, a legal juggernaut of every respect, Afe Babalola, the case he has instituted against Dele Farotimi, and everything that it has generated. What is your take on it so far?
Generally speaking, and talking of assessment, I think the disturbing trend which the case has generated so far, and which I think I'm particularly not happy about, is that of making the victim look like the assailants. And I think the assailants look like the victim. I understand that in every society, the person who appears to be the underdog in any conflict, will generally attract public sympathy and all of that. I understand that. But beyond the perception of an underdog attracting sympathy, I think it is unfortunate that many people who have attempted to analyze this issue, including lawyers, have failed to really look at the case, I would say, objectively. So basically, what really happened was that someone, a professional, that is Afe Babalola, who is, I understand, 95 years old now, has built his reputation around his career, and he has labored to build this reputation. Then someone decided to write a book. By the way, writing a book is a right. Anybody can write a book. However, when you write a book, you are putting something in permanent form. You should, be very prepared to defend, support whatever you have put in permanent form. So for me, really, the issue is not really whether Mr. Dele Farotimi wrote a book or whether he has the right to write a book or not. There is rot in the Nigerian judicial system. We know that. I know that. There are challenges, just as we have in other aspects of our national life and economy and all of that. But you see, anyone who has been trained the same way some of us have been trained, with a legal mind, and anyone who has gone to school anyway, because when I said this somewhere, someone said that even a media practitioner, just like you guys, journalists, you understand the law of libel, you understand the law of defamation, such that you don't really have to be a lawyer to know what line to cross and what line not to cross when you are speaking, when you are writing, or whatever it is. So basically, for me, it's not really that Mr. Dele Farotimi wrote it. It is that he has not been able to substantiate what he wrote. So rather than people encouraging him to come forth with evidence, unassailable evidence, and I say this because if you have evidence to prove anything, there is no law in Nigeria barring you from saying anything that you can prove. If you say someone stole, it is within your right to say so, provided you are able to prove it. Whatever you allege, by law, we say he who alleges must prove. So basically, but people have unfortunately allowed their emotions, allow sentiments, allow public sensations, to overwhelm or overtake them, such that they don't seem to appreciate the nuances of this issue, which is that someone has made very serious allegations. And rather than encouraging him to come forth with evidence, many people are attacking the victim because they think once the victim has been defamed in the manner that he has been defamed, or they have been defamed, then they can also dictate to them how they react to it. You can't beat a child and then expect the child not to cry, or dictate how the child cries. So for me, really, basically, I think Mr. Chief Afe Babalola and other people have responded the way a right-thinking person would respond to an occasion like this, within the ambit of the law.
All right. Dr. Latif, you have used some words repeatedly. You have talked about the victim and the assailant. So who are you referring to?
Okay, the victim here, of course, are the people whose reputation have been defamed. And I know all of them personally. Chief Afe, Mr. Daramola SPN, and Mr. Olafaru. Olafaru and myself were colleagues in Ife. If you read that Chief Babalola petition, and this is to tell you that regardless of all of us are lawyers, including Mr. Dele Farotimi himself. So I'm not really taking side, but I'm telling you that all the people mentioned in Mr. Dele Farotimi's book, they are the victim. They are the one whose reputation are now on trial. So it is them behove on Mr. Dele Farotimi to come forward and prove it. This is what people should encourage him to do. People should be talking about evidence and not paint him like he's the victim or he's an underdog.
All right.
The victim are the people whose reputation have been defamed.
Yeah, quickly, if
and
actually,
the assailant is Mr. Dele Farotimi, who has not put forward any evidence up to now.
Of course, I'm so much interested because this is your jurisdiction. If it will be your service, you call it your PPA as well. So we are talking about law here. And as I said earlier, you are not just a lawyer, you teach law as well. So we have the right person to talk on this matter. You're welcome. Now, all of these persons you have mentioned, they are lawyers in their own right, doing well for themselves. Afe Babalola, for example, in fact, many persons, which they say, for the want of a better word, It has become an institution to that profession because of what he has been able to achieve. But then
And rightly so.
yeah, you have used the word victim. Now, if Dele Farotimi now is in court, he has been granted bail, we'll talk about that shortly, is able to prove everything that he has said. We used to refer to these three gentlemen as victims.
Yes, you see, they being victim, is a permanent, I would say, fixture in this context because they are the defendants. That's what makes, the word victim is actually my own choice.
Okay,
Not that you have that stated in any law. It's my whole assessment of the situation. Yes, if he's able to prove it, yes, they are the victim. They remain the victim. Okay, in the sense that the one whose reputation have been maligned. However, Mr. Dele Farotimi being able to prove it, then would discharge him of the libelous charges or even the possible consequences, which is an imprisonment. That's all he will get from it. But they remain victim until he's able to do that.
All right.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. It's
Uzoms
here. I
can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said something about... You said something earlier about encouraging Dele Farotimi to actually provide evidence instead of what the world actually, in quotes, is trying to make him look like the victim. But in actually what we feel like the world, in quotes, is talking about is the way he was whisked away. If we want to talk about, okay, let him provide the evidence, that's on another angle or another level. But with the way the matter was actually handled, with the way the police moved from Ekiti to Lagos State to whisk him, it was more like the word and term that we've been using online is abducted, kidnapped. So that's what people are actually against. Like, was it right? But what was done to him, was it right with the way the police handled him? That's actually what we are trying to understand right now.
Okay, in all sincerity, I want to tell you this, and with all sense of responsibility, I'm being mindful of my own integrity as well. There is absolutely nothing wrong with arresting him in Lagos and moving him to Ekiti. There is nothing like police abducting anyone. Police is an institution recognized by law and set up by law. When a police seizes upon anyone, you don't call that an abduction. Even if they do it in the middle of the night, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act says they can arrest at any time. Now, in this case, the police have told us that they got a warrant of arrest. I've not seen anyone disputed that. Even if they don't have one, by law, you can arrest someone committing a crime in your presence. You see, for me, one of the challenges in this case so far is the emotionalism and sensationalism that people have introduced into it. I've seen the video of his arrest, and I understand it was captured by his own CCTV camera. I saw the way he walked out of that premises with some policemen. We didn't know what happened behind that door, but we saw him walk out. He was not in cuffs. He was not manhandled or something. So for me, really, and as a matter of law, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the way he was taken to Ekiti. There is nothing unlawful about it. And if you have anyone as investigative journalists, I want you to point it out as a matter of law. People have allowed emotion to overtake them. The police don't abduct. You can't say a policeman abduct. Police arrest. You see, using flowery words will not change the situation of things or the position of the law. Police do not arrest, and they do not abduct, and they cannot kidnap. When they do their job, they arrest. They can arrest, and they can do it, I would say, physically by touching. That's what the law says. But people call it abduction. These are not bandits. These are not criminals. These are officers of the law. So, but people use their word because they want to pursue some kind of emotionalism and sentiment that speak to their, whatever is it.
Okay.
And we should not join them.
All right.
If this were bandit or criminal or non-person, you could say abduction, or even individuals like me. Police don't abduct. Police don't kidnap. That is the point.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for that. But also, I still want to drag that topic, that point a little bit more. Like, okay,
okay.
when we watched the CCTV footage, we actually saw the way the workers in the premises were also kind of like, I don't want to use the word abused, but taking their phones and kind of manhandling them. Was that also part of it? I mean, these workers are more like people who are not part of this particular issue. So why seize their phones, take their phones away from them? Is that also part of abducting, arresting someone or taking someone, please?
Thank you. You see, my training would, again, make me to say that looking at this objectively or critically, to be honest with you, I had the video of the staff. Yes, I had their narration, story, and everything. But unfortunately, this is their own story. Am I supposed to believe it? Well, we are supposed to actually wait for the police story, which probably will be told in the court. We did not see a video of them being manhandling or anyone being touched. Someone said they slapped me. Someone else said they hit me. These are allegations. For me, if that truly happened, of course, that is clearly against the law. The law of arrest does not say you should, I would say, assault or attack people around the person you are supposed to arrest. Their family member, their relative, their staff, or whoever. So if that truly happened as those people narrated, then the police was in error and they can sue the police. All right. You see, the due process of law is very interesting because it spells out the processes, the step to take in redressing factually everything. All of those people can sue the police.
All right.
But you see, people, rather than taking the due process of law, they think they can just take the laws into their hand. All right. Just like Mr. Dele Farotimi himself, rather than writing in the manner that he has written without proof, he could have petitioned the NJC. He could have gone through due process of law. There are processes to report lawyers. There are processes to even report judges. We have seen the NJC sack judges.
All right, Dr.
And
Lateef.
I really hope that he has evidence. I'm really interested in the evidence. That's what some of us are after. We are really interested in seeing the evidence that he has, so that at least he can help us, I would say in a manner of speech, develop our judicial system. I mean, if they are able to prove all of, all of those things, all of us will be the better for it.
All right. Yeah, Dr. Lateef, many persons have said, and I think you inched on it earlier, to say when anybody sets out to write a book, whatever you put in it, you expect that it will be in permanent form, either a soft copy, a hard copy. Now, a kind of book that has now turned to be a bestseller. And, the legal luminary said, the content of that, he said some of his workers were to travel, so they got it at an airport. They told him what has been written there, and he got it as well, and he read it. And at a press conference held over the weekend, they said that how the police do their work is not their prerogative. It's not the prerogative of the council. That what the council to Afe Babalola and the other plaintiffs did was to petition the commissioner to say somebody or police has done this. Can you please invite him to come and substantiate the matter? Because, there are different opinions, and you have talked about emotions and, sensationalism of this matter. And some will say, if Dele Farotimi has written such a very deep, worded kind of allegation against him in that book, he should be ready to face whatever comes with it. He's a young person, so to speak. He's a lawyer. He knows the impact of words. And Afe Babalola also have a right to defend whatever he has worked for all his life. But that the police have been the one who messed it up. Now, I want to ask you, Dele Farotimi lives in Lagos. Actually, he practices in Lagos. And of course, his office is in Lagos. And Afe Babalola, at the moment, resides in Ado-Ekiti. One would say, all of them are freeborn. They decide to reside anywhere. Why can't the case be tried in Lagos? Actually, well, because that publishing is online, we know, but Dele Farotimi lives in Lagos. Because I want you to clear this point. People are saying it's because of the influence of Afe Babalola in Ekiti State. That is why he has decided, to have the case tried in Ekiti. And some have said, okay, maybe Lagos as well, I don't have a proof to this, has decriminalized defamation and so that it can work in Lagos. That's why he brought it to Ekiti State. What do you say to that?
Okay, let me start with your last statement. Yes, Lagos has decriminalized defamation such that you cannot really bring a criminal defamation in Lagos. So that is one. And I'm not speaking for Chief Afe or his team here, but generally speaking, there is absolutely nothing wrong in bringing the claim in Ekiti or even in Abuja. You see, the alleged crime of Mr. Dele Farotimi has become a virtual crime in the sense that the element of this crime is all over the world. In fact, and I say this with authority, if Chief Afe got the win that Mr. Farotimi lives in America, he can as well sue him in America. Okay. If he got the win that he lives in UK, he can as well sue him in UK, because the basis is this. Everywhere that book has reached, everywhere that book can be found, or where that book is read, becomes a territory, you know, to bring a suit. And I'm using my word advisedly now. When I say suit, I don't mean criminal in this sense. Because in terms of criminal, many countries around the world don't really have criminal defamation. They don't have it in the US, absolutely. They don't have it. They used to have it in the UK, but they don't have it anymore. So in those other countries, what Chief Afe could have done was to bring civil suit. So if you bring it in America, a civil suit. If you could even file civil suit in the UK, where it follows that you can do it anywhere in Nigeria. But now, talking about criminal defamation, many states in Nigeria, particularly all the states in the north, they still have criminal defamation. So if Chief Afe says, and I know Chief Afe has a law firm in Abuja, I know this as a matter of fact. If he says, my lawyer in Abuja, they read this book, and when I visited that firm, this was my, you know, and all of, so my point is that the charge could have been brought anywhere in Nigeria where there's criminal defamation. Because crime, as alleged, is virtual, is everywhere. And more so by our law. A complainant, which is Chief Afe in this case, can bring their case wherever they reside. That is the truth. You know, one of the grounds for jurisdiction in any case is where the complainant lives, or sometimes where the defendant also lives. But in this case, in a criminal case, he can be brought anywhere there is a law.
So there is nothing wrong in what has happened so far. Okay. All right. Quickly, yeah, the image you have on your screen, or the images, was that of yesterday. Actually, when he was leaving the court, he has been granted by 50 million. Many persons are asking for what exactly? 50 million. But then the case is in court, and we won't run the subjudice of what is happening with the court. We are only talking about manners in which things has been done, and of course his passport should to be submitted, you know, so that at least he's sure that he will be here. And after he might have perfected his bail conditions, maybe he will have the freedom, at least temporarily, as it is. But the manner in which it was cuffed, was that right? To say this is not a terrorist. This is, you know, in fact, yesterday on social media, people were placing that picture. If actually we can have that picture again now, side by side with that of Yahaya Bello, who has been wanted for so long. And when he decided to come in and he went to the court, it was like he was given a VIP treatment, so to speak. Everybody was behind him. He was smiling in the court. He was seated. He had a fan to himself. When he left the court, it was more like a celebrity entering a stadium with all kind of, you know, entourage. And this is a Dele Farotimi on this particular case being in cuff. Was that right? Or you think that was an overreach from the security agencies? Was that necessary?
Well, it depends on, you know, it depends on circumstances that I don't think is open to you and I. It could be an overdrive. It could be an overdrive. It could be an overzealousness. But beyond that, let me say that by law, this is issue within, it's a security issue for the police to decide. But let me say, generally speaking, the Constitution of Nigeria preserves the dignity of human person, regardless of whether you have been accused of a crime or not. So generally speaking, and that's my starting point really, I would say that nobody should be cuffed if you are accused of crime or whatever it is, because the constitutional right for dignity of human person is open to everyone. However, the decision to cuff or not to cuff is a security decision, to be honest with you. And this is talking practically and telling you the standard all over the world. If you are familiar with the arrest process in the West, you will see that almost, I mean, there's hardly any arrest you can see without people being cuffed. So basically, it is a proclivity of the accused person that determines that security decision. We wouldn't know whether Mr. Farotimi was violent. We wouldn't know whether he was resistant. We wouldn't know whether they assessed him to be somebody who could escape or who could be weak away. To be honest with you, I'm being objective here because I've accused some person of emotionalism and sensationalism earlier. So looking at things objectively, it could be anything. So it is the police who can speak to this. And as a matter of law, and I say this with authority, there is no law in Nigeria barring the police from cuffing. It's a security decision. If the police want to, if some people, you see, why was warrant of arrest issued against Yahaya Bello? It was because he refused to submit himself, I would say, voluntarily. So, for example, generally speaking, courts don't issue warrant of arrest. They don't need to issue a one. Police don't declare persons wanted. They don't need to do that, but they do so in response to some situations. If you refuse to honor a voluntary invitation, they may then come arrest you. That's, I understand exactly what they did to Mr. Farotimi. I understand they filed a summons against him. I'm aware he responded to it. Rather than going to that court to respond to it, he went on social media. He did and I saw the video. I'm speaking personally now. I saw the video where he said a fraudulent charge has been preferred against me in Ekiti. If they want to see me, they should come and get me. And they went for him. So if I had gone there, the issue of arrest would not have arisen. So the same thing applies to cuffing.
All right.
If a defendant does not pose a threat, if they do not resist anything, if the police do not suspect that this defendant may escape, or he may slap someone, or he may hit someone, they may not necessarily cuff them.
Quickly,
this is not me speaking for the
permit
police.
me to butt in
I'm
here.
just speaking objectively,
yes,
so that we can look at it, holistically.
Exactly, and that's why we have you here.
Decision.
Yeah.
It is open to the police to defend or...
Dr. Latif, a quick one. Who makes that decision? Is it the court or the security agencies?
Of course, the court doesn't have anything to do. In fact, what the court usually do is that once an accused person is accosted into the court premises, the court will ask the police to take off the cuff. Because the court is a temple of justice. All right. And the court want to see that the accused person enjoys his full liberty. The police usually take off the cuff unless, and I repeat this again, unless the security decision dictates otherwise. All right. If, for example, the person is such who can start eating everybody in the court, the person will remain cuffed even inside the court premises. So it is police who make the decision. That's the summary.
All right, quick one. 1 minute. I'll take this as your parting shot, and now, because law, most times it's about antecedent precedences, and that's why you learned people always quote some of these things to buttress your argument in court. And I refer to the Yahaya case as well. This was somebody that was declared wanted by almost all the security agencies. In fact, there was a fisticuff, there was gunshot on the day FCC wanted to arrest him, and it was witched away by his successor, the governor, Usman Ododo. And since then, there's basically back and forth everywhere. All the borders were looking for this person. And, everybody was like, God, where is he? Where is he? Where's the white lion? On the day he chose to go, after months, and he was presented in court, somebody who has run away for months, who there was gunshot when he was to be arrested at a previous date, went to court, he wasn't cuffed. That's the opera of many Nigerians to say, does this person, is he selective? Because yes, Dele Farotimi was cuffed, the police board hasn't come out with any evidence to show that either he was violent or either he was a security risk. So can you create a nexus between these things? Because that's the worry of so many Nigerians.
Thank you.
In a minute.
Thank you for using the word precedent. Yes, precedent matters, particularly in legal practice. But you see, you are comparing two institutions. And if you go through your file, I doubt if you can find any EFCC case where, in quotes, a prominent person was actually cuffed to court. So this is a police case. I mean, in terms of Dele Farotimi, and then you have the EFCC.
Does the prominence matter? The prominence of the individual, does it matter?
No, it doesn't. Actually, it doesn't matter. Thank you for saying that. Actually, it doesn't matter. But I'm just telling you that you use the word president. You use the word president.
Yeah.
So I want you to go through your file and see whether the EFCC is generally speaking in the manner of cuffing. So again, it is a security decision. The police only can explain why they did that. And then this is not the police. Yabelo was not handled by the police. It was handled by the EFCC. And again, if you go through your file, I think the EFCC doesn't have a style of generally cuffing people. Police does that a lot.
Okay. And so, as we round off, what you have said is the police have acted well. The court has decided well. You know, I'm not talking about the case that every institutions have done what they should do. Is that what you're saying?
Everything that we have seen so far, with on my authority and integrity, or honor rather, are according to law. To be honest with you, and this is me speaking to my integrity, are according to law.
Yes, a law lecturer or lawyer, Dr. Misbah Lateef, who teaches law for a living at the University of Hull in the UK, has been speaking with us. Thank you, Doctor, for your time and your time.
Good morning. Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Of course. This will be the first leg of the conversation, and trust us to stay on this matter as well, especially as it's a developing story. We'll take this break right now. When we come back, we'll bring it home. The state of the living spring, the politics, the party politics, the development of the state, and an update, on a particular issue that happened in October. Trust us, it's a robust one. We'll be back. Stay with us.